I'm Doug Holdreed. This PowerPoint presentation is designed to accompany Exploring Art, a Global Thematic Approach, Chapter 8, Reproduction and Sexuality. In this chapter, we'll look at the ways in which art has been interwoven with magic and with religious rituals to promote human fertility, to ensure that human beings would have enough offsprings to continue their existence. We'll also look at the primordial couple as it has existed in various cultures. And we'll look at the way in which lovemaking and procreation and pregnancy have been depicted in works of art. This first group of images are fertility fetishes, objects that were thought by the people who created and used them to ensure fertility. They're gods and goddesses, mostly from the Paleolithic through the Neolithic eras of the Stone Age. They were believed to aid in human reproduction, and they were also integrated into the rituals and into the mythology of the people who created them. This is one of the oldest creations ever made by a human being. It's called the Woman of Willendorf. It was discovered in a place called Willendorf in Austria. It's somewhere between 20 and 30,000 years old, and it's believed to have been a fertility fetish, an object that was created to ensure fertility of the people who created it. We find male and female fertility fetishes among many different cultures and traditions on the face of the earth. Sometimes these objects attain what is referred to as mana or power, and it's believed that the longer that these objects exist and the more that they're used, the more that they're passed on from one generation to the next, they gain more and more mana, more and more spiritual power and efficacy to accomplish the purpose for which they were created. This is a Potawatomi male figure believed to be a love doll. It's a good example of sympathetic magic. Objects like this were used as medicine to control human behavior and to affect health. In this case, this figure was used to charm or to cast a spell upon someone whose attentions were desired. And this object, the banana female figure from Mali in Africa, was used to aid women who are having difficulty in conceiving and in childbearing. So again, it's an example of a fertility object. This piece was used in a ritual to assist women who had consulted a priest for advice, and it was adorned as a doll, and the woman who was given this object was advised to carry it wrapped on her back, as women do carry their babies in this culture, and to treat it as if it were a real baby, and the result of this was believed to promote and induce conception and pregnancy. Another category of works of art are images that depict the primordial couple. This is found in Jewish and Christian, Muslim, and in lots of other religious traditions. One example of it is Adam and Eve, the primordial couple, the first man and woman, who were commanded by God to be fruitful and multiply. We have images of marriages. This is from an Aztec codex, and in this image, the couple who are being married literally have tied the knot This painting by Jan van Eyck is more than just a portrait of this couple who are being married. It also kind of serves as a wedding certificate, and it's full of iconography. In the mirrored frame at the back of the room, there's a depiction of the Passion of Christ. We see the chandelier symbolizing the divine presence, and the removal of their shoes is symbolic that this is holy ground. The dog in the picture symbolizes fidelity. So everything in this picture has iconographic meaning. And then there are pictures of couples making love. Katajawa Utamoro, in this very sensitive and reverent woodcut block relief print, and Jeff Koons, who really uses very sort of sensual and commercial images that remind us of romance models. One of the things that we find in imagery in the various religions of the world is the idea of complementary opposites, and the dynamic between masculine and feminine, yin and yang. So many of the images that on the surface are sexual, on a deeper level are expressions of this creative tension between polar opposites, between male and female. Many of the images of the female body, especially in the 19th century in Europe, were made really for male viewers, and the gaze in these images is very suggestive, very seductive. An example of this is the Grand Odalisque by the artist Angres, where the artist has intentionally distorted this image, elongating the back, and the subject matter here is a member of a Turkish harem. This is a good example of a work of art that really was created for a male audience, and some people would see as an exploitation of the female body for that purpose. This painting by Edward Manet was really scandalous at the time that he painted it, not so much because it was a nude, but because the model was a real woman who people recognized as living in Paris at the time that this piece was painted. It was okay at this time in history to paint nudes of Greek or of classical subjects or of biblical subjects, but not a nude of a contemporary woman as we see in this piece. And we have images that speak of the whole subject of pregnancy and of motherhood, and of course when we think about that, we have to think of images of the Madonna and Child, and of the Annunciation, where the angel Gabriel informs the Virgin Mary of her miraculous pregnancy. We have also contemporary images of pregnancy and of birth. Here's a fertility figure which was found in present-day Turkey, and it dates back to about 6000 BCE. So we've seen that throughout the ages, in all of the cultures of the earth and all of the religious traditions of humanity, sexuality and the whole process of procreation have been one of the themes that have come through in works of art, and a lot of these have been the interweaving of fertility with religion and ritual.